Today we're back roasting even more Airsoft loadouts, and I gotta say, you guys have surprised me. I asked for you to submit your kits on my Discord server for these videos, and you guys submitted a lot of kits. We have a ton to get through, so why don't we just get right into the roasting. Monolith Media has his Stalker kit, which I just gotta say, this looks incredible. I feel like post-apocalyptic kits can go two ways. They can either look hard, like this one, or it's like I put on my civilian clothes and walked around in the woods. And this is just, I mean, first off, the photography is amazing on these, but this is awesome. He's got Flectarn with a smirch over it and like, oh, and the Defender or whatever fort plate carrier that is underneath. These pictures just go super hard, and I wish that there were more games that supported this sort of thing. I think the issue is when you look at like post-apocalyptic games, they're often more LARPy, which isn't a problem, but there's never like a good force-on-force set in the post-apocalypse. But this goes super hard. He's also got the King Arms GP30 on that AK, which those are super hard to find, so that's a flex in and of itself. I absolutely love this. This is incredible, to say the least. Like, I absolutely love this style of kit. I just wish that we saw more of it in Airsoft and more games that allowed people to wear it. I think you guys are just creating Discord names that cannot be pronounced. Like, that is not a word. But taking a look at the kit, you know, you don't see Multicam black very often anymore. Like, it was definitely popular 5-7 years ago, but to still see people rocking it, I think it can look good in certain situations. And taking a look at the kit, the main thing that I'll say is you need some variety. Like, everything is Multicam black. I think it looks the best when it's like an accent, or like, I love Ranger Green over Multicam black. I just think it looks super cool, kind of gives off that like private military kind of look, like Shadow Company from the original Modern Warfare 2. I know that they were wearing just like straight black, but like if you modernize that, that's what I would want to see. Otherwise, I gotta say it, just because I've run similar face mask setups in the past, you're gonna get shot in the nose. Like, everything is covered except for this, so that's gonna be the only place that you get shot in the head. And then I do want to acknowledge, you know, a little bit of day noodling going on, which I find hilarious. I can't quite tell if those are real or not, but either way, like, make sure that you have some sort of pouch to put those on during the day. I get this is probably just for pictures, but nobody wants to be the day noodler. But this is definitely cool. I like the basic kind of M4 with the quad rail and EOTech on there. Again, I just like old simple guns, and combining it with some of the newer kind of high-speed kit, I think this looks pretty cool. Alexander has his Russian-inspired kit, and I gotta say, like, the kit's cool, don't get me wrong, but wherever you are is just beautiful. Like, I mean, like, look at this. Like, I wish that we had places like this. I'm going to assume you're not in the United States, because I feel like there's not a lot of AOs like this in the United States, but whenever I watch Europeans play Airsoft, they're in like the coolest facility ever. But this is just sick. I gotta love somebody who carries the PKM. I think it's the best Airsoft machine gun out there. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of your standard Russian style kit, where you've got like a partisan suit or something like that, and then, you know, a harness to go with it. But these are just, they go hard. I think that sometimes there's kits that like you may call generic because it was commonly used during a certain time period, but now that a certain amount of time has passed, I think they just look incredible. Like kits like this. I love seeing like Russian belt kits like this with like a smirch or something similar, and this is just super cool. So great kits. Again, just another username I'm not going to pronounce. And this is super cool because it's something that you don't see super often, and this is old school SAS kit. Maybe because the times have changed a lot in the last 30 years and gear is just significantly better, but like, it's an iconic look of like all black with the MP5 and a gas mask. This is sick. I wonder if the gas mask is rated for Airsoft, because wearing gas masks in general just sucks, let alone wearing one that you couldn't use in game. But especially like, you know, just looking at all this old school kit, this is incredible. He's even got the flashlight handguard for the MP5, which if you've ever tried looking for one, they're kind of difficult to find for some reason. Like, nobody really makes them anymore. I know you can find the classic armies occasionally, but I absolutely love this. I think that it's hilarious. And he's also got the MP5K as well. So I think that this is absolutely sick. I don't know a ton about old school SAS kit, so I don't know if this is just like inspired or if this is the real stuff that's used, but I absolutely love this. This is incredible. So this is one of those kits that I'm going to mention solely because of the gun. And this is a mix of American AOR2, he says. Yeah, that's kind of AOR2. Picture's a little blurry, but it's the XM8 that does it for me. Like, that's just one of those guns that you never see. And you know, let's just take a look at it like this so that you can see the whole gun. Like, who makes these? Like, I know SRC did back in the day. Are they still in production? Like, I mean, for those people that are younger here, like this, at a time, a lot of people thought this was going to replace the M4. Like this is just a very iconic gun from a very specific point in time that did not go anywhere, but it kind of laid the groundwork for a lot of different things, like, you know, modular attachments like Keymod and M-Lock. It was very customizable, and ultimately, you know, we just kept the M4 up until, you know, recently, but still, most people have M4s. This was like the cool high-speed gun of the day. Like this was the equivalency in like, I want to say 2004 of like what the new SIG guns are today in 2024. So I think the kit is cool. I'm just curious, if you're watching this video, how is it to run the XM8? Because like, who still carries mags? Who still carries upgrade parts for them? Like, how did you find this? Have you had this for 20 years? But I think the gun alone makes this incredibly cool. And we have another kit from Brodus, who is a channel member and a frequent flyer here on the Roast My Kit. And this is his Navy NWU kit, which I just think looks super cool because I'm a sucker for AOR2. I know there is a difference between those two patterns, between NWU and AOR2, but they look close enough. And this is just super cool. I love LCANs as well. The one thing that I'm just not a huge fan of, and this is me personally, I don't like the Haley Strategic chest rigs. They just, I don't know, they don't do it for me. I feel like the D3CRX, which is I think the one he has, the one with the 4 pistol mags out front, I'm never going to need 4 pistol mags, and I feel like by having like, oh, you can put a multi-tool in there, like I'm going to grab a multi-tool when I go to reload my Glock. But you know, besides, I think this looks super cool. I love seeing like armored kits with everything on there. I'm struggling to tell what the plate carrier is underneath all that. But I think that this look is just incredible. And it's one of those patterns that used to be more popular, but we just don't see a ton of it anymore. So I wish that, like, I don't know what it is. Like, I know that Navy SEAL kit isn't as popular as it used to be, so people aren't looking for AOR2, but those were like the golden days of Airsoft for me. I do just want to take a quick moment to thank our channel members for their continued support. It takes a lot to keep the BB Warrior running, and their support simply makes this all possible. If you want to become a channel member, there's some really cool perks that come with it, like getting guaranteed spots in the Roast My Kit series, along with special access on our Discord server, being able to watch videos early, and more. So if you want to learn about becoming a channel member, there's information down in the description below, or if you're on PC, you can hit the join button next to my username. Let's get back into roasting even more kits. Famine has their Mandalorian kit, which is made up of a lot of 3D printed armor, and I think that this is just super cool. Star Wars isn't necessarily my thing, but I know that there's a lot of people that do Star Wars games. I know there's that big company that runs them out in the Midwest. This is just super neat, and I think this is like, I think what the Roast My Kit series has taught me is that like I have my personal taste. Like there's things that I like, but it's made me appreciate what other people like more. Like I never would have been like, oh, a Star Wars kit, but this is rad. Like the fact that you've got this working for Airsoft and like that none of this is gonna fall apart when you get shot, this is absolutely sick. So we featured one of his kits earlier, but I do just want to point this out because we just talked about post-apocalyptic kits a second ago. Alexander has another kit that kind of fits that vibe. And I just think that this is super cool because one, I love underfolders, but again, I just want to see more of this stuff in Airsoft. And this really just looks like the world ended. I have grabbed whatever I could and I am going to survive. You know, there's like tape on the rifle, the mags are held together with tape as well. Like, I just love this sort of stuff and wish that there were more games that supported using them. But this is also just super sick, just like the first kit that we saw from him. We have Gambler Airsoft submitting his loadout, and he runs his own YouTube channel that you should check out. But taking a look at this, this is just kind of like, it's a little bit easier to see when it's all laid out here. So this kind of gives me like old school Marso type vibes, which, you know, again, I love that era of kits so much. So taking a look at it, we've got the M81 G3s, which I think is super cool, and then a loaded up JPC. So I don't think that there's anything particularly wrong with this loadout, but as we take a closer look at the plate carrier, he's got the 3 mags in front, he's got his radio. You know, I feel like having a large backpack like that on the JPC is just going to be wildly uncomfortable. And then we've got some pouch on his back, which looks like a Milsim West tourniquet pouch, like, you know, just for holding airsoft tourniquets, but I could be wrong. My piece of advice for this would be get more mags. Like, you're going to want more than a 3+1, and your entire left side of the cummerbund is completely empty. So get like a double mag pouch there. I think that having that Tactical Tailor smoke pouch on the right will be helpful as well, but like, I don't see any way to hold respawn materials, whether you're going to have those in like your shoulder pockets or not. But if you're trying to use this at a large scale event, which I'd assume that you are if you're doing, you know, this kind of impression sort of thing, yeah, you know, more mags, tourniquets, I think just little details like that help make kits better. But this is definitely super cool, and it's from a time period that I really like. Thank you all for submitting your kits, and as is tradition for Roast My Kit, I think it's only fair that we roast one of mine. So this is a kit that I'm going to call Snake Kit at Home. And the reason why I say this is I wanted it to be inspired by a Russian like snake kit, which is like the black coveralls. However, I didn't want to spend the money on it because this was like a one-off thing for a game. So this kit was for the skill underworld, essentially at night, the game master sort of things. We wanted a small group that could help keep the game moving, setting props up without kind of ruining the LARP of the game. It was a roleplay focused event. So kind of having a faction, for lack of a better word, which just ended up being myself and Tom from Amped Airsoft, just kind of keeping the game moving at night and kind of keeping that tempo up, making sure that interesting things were happening. So this kit is a pair of dark blue coveralls, and these aren't tactical coveralls. I think I got these from Tractor Supply for a Survive Omega game, the better part of like 5 or 6 years ago now. And then on top of that, I have my JTech Mark II, which is, you know, used for like Russian FSB kit. I have my ACH with my PVS-14 because I was only really doing this during the night. And then the gun was my Arcturus PP-19, which is just so much fun to use. This was my first game where I had like a really kitted out night vision rifle that I was happy with. So I had like the PP-19 with my laser on there, flashlight, everything that I would need with the Arcturus tracer as well. I had a lot of fun. I had more fun than I should have when we did get into firefights and also keeping the game going. So it was just like one of the best nighttime experiences that I've ever had. Am I biased because it was my own game? Maybe, but I had a lot of fun with this. So feel free to roast. This is definitely like the great value snake kit. Not a real impression at all, but just kind of throwing like, seeing what those kits are and doing something inspired off of it. Before we go, I do just want to note that there is a huge backlog on Roast My Kit. I simply can't make these videos fast enough. So right now we are at about end of June where I've gotten to kits. So if you've submitted something and you're still waiting for it to get in a video, just please hold tight. I am editing these as fast as I can. These videos take way longer than any of the other videos that I do for the channel. So just keep in mind that there is a backlog right now and I am working to get through it. So there is still hope, and please still keep submitting your loadout. But that's going to do it for today's video. Again, thank you all so much for everybody who submits their loadouts. I never thought that we'd get this amount of support and this amount of kits that are being submitted, so I really appreciate it. If you want to continue watching some videos, why don't you check out the rest of the Roast My Kit series up here, or another video that you may like over here. But my name is Lane, and I will see you all next time.